Good morning, everybody, and we are going to start with a short video.
Haven't you seen, haven't you felt the love? Haven't you felt, haven't you heard the love?
Sorry to interrupt. I would have liked to have a bit more time for this, but it's not for right now. This emotion we have when we use the microphone. The emotion we have, and I hope you already fell in love with our Earth. And for your information, this photo is called Blue Marble, and I wanted to start with that because when I shifted myself, it was one of the reasons why I was so impressed, and I realized that, like many astronauts who had the chance to be in the space, they were really impressed, and they considered that it was urgent and imperative to protect this land, this planet, to take immense care. This picture was taken in 1972, so it's an old one, and no other mission was indeed ever in the same circumstances in the light, allowing to obtain this global vision. We see the Earth as a whole, so our world as a whole, and this is called the overview effect. And I think it's a good start for all of us, for all human beings, to consider that this is what we have to protect. This is where we live all together, and that's what we have to protect. And as I told you, I shifted myself, and I decided to start in the Climate Enterprise Convention. In French, it's la Convention des entreprises pour le climat. That is an independent, non-partisan, and not-for-profit organization aiming at making the shift towards a regenerative economy and to make it irresistible. So it's very complicated, but that's our goal, and by 2030. From the space, maybe. So you see the shift is going to be complicated. But, lots of things to face with, but and so the shift towards a regenerative economy for corporations, but not only, of all sizes and of all kind of industries. It began in summer 2020. A friend of mine, Eric Duverger, was profoundly inspired by the closing speech of the Citizens Convention for Climate. And he asked himself whether it would be possible to do the same exercise with company CEOs, company leaders, and took a sabbatical from his job at the Michelin Group to find out. So I joined him with a few others. So at the end of 2020, during the famous lockdown. And the idea was to build a collective of people who believed that the business world played its full part in the transition to sustainability. So, as Gail said, it's very important to put the CSR strategy in the heart of the strategy of the companies. It's not something that must be beside, or it must be included. And that's what we wanted to build. So a big number of volunteers joined the project, and I think right now we are about 150 people who work not all the time, of course, for the CEC, but for some of us it's the case. And myself, I have the two caps. In fact, I'm the managing director of Astrakhan, so an IT consulting company, and I'm also an insider of the CEC because I did the whole training. It's not, in fact, it's not a training. It's a program really because it's a strategic program for leaders, and I wanted Astrakhan, my company, to shift also, so to take the way to sustainability, the way to regenerative, company, and that's how it started in September 2021 with 150 businesses of all sizing, operating in all sectors, based all over France, to work on reinventing their business models within the planetary boundaries. It sounds maybe a bit complicated to understand that it's because it's thanks to the collective, thanks to the group, thanks to the intelligence that we gather with all kind of leaders, and with some also some a committee like this on which you can find some institutionals like the Ministère de la Transition écologique et de l'aménagement des territoires, la BPI, which is the climate bank in France, l'ADEME, l'Office français de la biodiversité, some professional associations like the MEDEF or the METI, and some other association, non-profit organizations. I guess some you know them, pour un réveil écologique, for instance, to avoid greenwashing and to be sure that all the leaders who join the program are really sincere. That's a bit our why. In fact, I told you it was an irresistible shift towards a regenerative economy that we expected at the CEC. And it's the ripple effect that was at the heart of the CEC's framework, to start with some 150 leaders. In fact, there are 250. Why? Because each company, 2/3 of the companies were represented by two leaders. So it was 150 companies and 250 leaders to be like exemplary, to show the way in order to ask bigger. So bigger in the economy, and of course for all the consumers, for the citizens, and also for all the decision makers, the political decision makers. So it was quite a big ambition at the beginning. We didn't know how it would end. We didn't know the impact. I would say, to understand the philosophy, it was also the goal to embrace the complexity of the industries. That means when we look at the stakes, it was very important. Oh yes, sorry. To search excellence and a positive and a caring mindset, and to be positive and sincere. The regenerative business. Maybe you wonder, why do we need a regenerative business? Because we start looking at what it is. It's the first question, and it's our economic system is in crisis. So this is no doubt because it has neglected the conditions required for its own success, which are to operate in a healthy environment and a social framework. It's so economy, social, environment. 6 of the 9 planetary boundaries that keep our planet systems in balance have now been exceeded. It was this year, maybe you know the overshoot day now in France is in May, so we need 2.5 planets to produce what we consume. So after several decades of social progress, inequality is rising again. So what is a regenerative business? It means going beyond reducing or neutralizing negative impacts and working. It means to work and to generate net positive impacts for ecosystems and society. Regeneration is about putting life and living things, whether human or not, at the heart of every action and decision. It sounds a bit weird when we speak about API, about IT, which is immaterial, but in fact, we all need a good, fit, and healthy ecosystem. 42% of the French companies need an healthy ecosystem. So even if we work in some immaterial industry, in immaterial sector, it's really important to take care about this. Oh, so the program is in six sessions, two-day sessions. Sorry, it would be very long to explain. Here you can see the program for a pair of CEO and what they do during the program. So as you can see, there are the goals we give. We talk about organization, about KPIs, about cooperation with ecosystems, because everything is about cooperation. Even with some competitors, it's called co-petition. That's the kind of concept that we work on during the session of the CEC. The deliverables of the program, it's something very important. It's the roadmap. I mean, we are very turned to actions. That's what we aim. It's some concrete and ambition roadmap that we ask to our participants. And as you saw, what we call the garants were there to challenge us about the roadmaps. Sorry. We work on the cross-functional projects and about the way the leaders learn and how they transform themselves before and after the program. The digital impact, I think during the last 2 days you heard a lot about this. The trajectory followed by digital technology is unsustainable. So we can think about whatever we have. As Gaël said, it's a pharmacon. It means it's a part of the solution, but it's also a part of the problem. It's the cause of 4% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions, and it's the biggest growth, about 8% per year. And most of the time we don't realize when it comes from. It comes from end-user devices. Most of the time they generate 2 times more carbon globally than data centers, according to a McKinsey survey in 2022. And the CIOs can tip the balance between energy consumption and energy preservation, depending on the decisions they make. So, I mean, it's all of us that are responsible of this, and that we have to be conscious about these figures, about these patterns, and because it's an emergency to change, and we have to act right now. Again, these figures, I guess you already know most of them. I just want you to remember that we have to work on economy, environment, and social. The human, we are all concerned about this. It's not something that we can delegate to other people. It's the sobriety, which was a new term 1.5 years ago. Now everybody speaks about this. I guess you know also the satiety maybe is also a concept that you need to know. That means to respond to some needs, to some real needs, rather than some envy or some will. So and I see the time. So if you have some questions, I have to let you some time. At the end of the CEC, this is the actions that are really necessary to do in every company. It's the roadmaps that I guess you will have the presentation. So don't worry about this. The first thing is to start to name someone who is in charge, who is responsible of the digital, and to give him the means to act. Sometimes the management or the team, some budgets, and also the KPIs to follow up the trend of the company. After the you will see the first start. The first thing we asked to all the participants of the CEC was to carry out its carbon footprint, and on the 3 scopes. That's something that is always very hard to have to count with all the same items and to compare the same things all together, and to set ambitious objectives for the life of the equipment, for instance, because it's the biggest part of the digital pollution. And all the participants sign a chart in which they're committed to do these actions inside their own companies. So they're the rollout of the CEC, but we have no time to share about this. If I want to talk a bit of generally, because we received the certificate of achievement, le prix de la sobriété 2022. It's a wonderful picture. Toufik Amdani, head of IT department for savings and investment, and my colleague Franck Subert should be there today, but they didn't manage to do it. It's a very busy period right now. So, but just to see the objective they had given to their team at Generali, as you can see, some internal items and some external factors. Raise awareness among Generali staff about the challenges of digital society. Sincerely, it's very important because many people don't know the figures, and it's a challenge that is very important to be conscious. So that's the transition starts with that, to show how IT can help achieve sustainable objectives through practical use cases. That's also important, to be very concrete and to have some actions and to see what the results, the start we can have when we are conscious of this, and to help Generali's clients to select sustainable investment funds for eco-responsible investments. So that were the objectives. That's the pillars of the sobriety, the way they rolled it out at Generali this year. It was from the web pages optimizations to the back end, and also they tried to optimize the infrastructure. That's the results and the opportunities after 1 year projection. As you can see, almost half of the greenhouse gas emissions were reduced thanks to the web pages. So you have the figure. That's huge. That's a huge progress. Imagine if all of you do such things, and you have the results for the back end, for the infrastructure. It was a bit less, and they are not in the cloud. It would be a bit long to explain all this, but you can see that on all these items there are some opportunities to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, and that's the main thing to do, not to compensate, really to reduce them. I almost have finished. Don't worry, Gail. You're the timekeeper. So Generali works daily to direct capital flows towards sustainable investment in order to finance sustainable and inclusive growth. So they expect a 100% green and sustainable fund, a new product, and also with a simulator that can create an environmental impact simulators to allow clients to evaluate the energy and to balance it with the financial performance of the product. So that would be very, very new, very disruptive. So we expect a lot, and that the scope 3, it's quite rare to see such commitment on this scope for lots of companies, and also to to give some loans or to make some investments for their clients according to the ESG criteria. That's something because of the regulations that is changing in Europe mainly, but it's an international competition, and that's also something very important to understand that we are not alone, and above all about the regulation, but we can act. The nest step is the scalability to the whole IT department and to, of course, all the business units at Generali. What they regard that is that on the API rationalization side, they have implemented the first pilot quotas, and still on this topic, Generali has a 45% decrease in the number of calls to their APIs in the context of business growth. So it's a huge improvement. So we can be very happy with that, and thank you for your attention.
Okay, 2 talks in one, that's a bit of a challenge. Let's take 2 to 3 minutes if you've got questions, because I guess on the general use case, we went through it pretty fast. So any question in the room? And I'm super sorry for Le Bon Coin, just that we will start slightly later. Yeah, we've got a microphone here because we'd like to record your question and the answer.
Hello, this is Alexander. Great presentation. Just a short question. Are you also rolling the program for other countries? So, and just the second part is how is the relation with the World Economic Forum metrics that was presented?
Yes, in the rollout of the CEC program, the first is some regional, but in France, regional rollout, because it's a very important leverage to accelerate the transition. And there are some European CECs that are going to be launched in Swiss, in Belgium, in Germany. Last Friday, Eric was in Berlin to start a CEC program in Germany. There's one also in
if
Belgium.
Guillaume and David can already come and set up the stuff.
And about the second part of your questions, yes, the ecosystem, as you saw, the trend to be regenerative needs to build and to develop the ecosystem, and that's why we need to be very connected with all other initiatives. The ones you said are some examples. We start discussions with them to build partnerships and to develop the relationship between these associations and these organizations. So we want to roll out abroad. Yes, you're right. It's important. But we start in France.